This conference will now be recorded.
Hello.
Yeah.
So we have done with the overloading and polymorphism kind of stuff, and we'll have a quick glance of abstract class. And before that, there is an operator, instance of operator. Probably you might have an idea. So instance, to getting to know that is it belonging to that object or not. Is that belonging to that object or not? In that case, we are going to see instance of operator. Like I have see here, we have animal class, and there is a class called a dog. The class is extending a dog is extending animal. When the dog is extending animal, what is happening is we are creating an object of a animal also. Am I right? Now, if I create an object of dog, so that is an instance of animal also. In that case, if I want to know whether it is an instance of animal or not, so just D is an instance of animal. So if it gives you true, then you can say that it is, yes, it is. Something like that. So if you want to check whether it is belonging to that particular object or not, you can use the operator, instance of operator. There are a couple of examples. If you want, you can check it out. So the basic idea for instance of operator is whether it is belonging to that particular object or not. That's it.
Okay.
Now coming to the abstract classes. What is an abstract class? And what is an interface? And when do we go for abstract class and when do you go for interfaces? What is an abstract class?
A class which has at least one abstract method, which just shows the declaration, but not it's not defined.
A class which extends. A class which extends. A class which we have declared it as an abstract class and which contains abstract methods, right?
Yes.
Okay. Can a class contain abstract class contain non-abstract methods too?
Yes.
Can we create an object for abstract class?
No.
Why?
Because it has at least one unimplemented method. So if we create, then there is a chance of using that undefined method. So we do not create object for abstract.
Abstract class can contain implemented methods also, no?
Yes.
In that case, if abstract class, if it contains implemented methods, why can't we create an object?
Because there will be at least one abstract method. So there is a risk of using that method.
Okay. So the reason for that is the meaning of abstract is nothing but incomplete.
Yes.
The meaning of abstract is nothing but incomplete. When you say something is incomplete, you are not allowed to create an object. When you say something is incomplete, you are not allowed to create an object. It's also the same here. Abstract is an incomplete class. For an incomplete class, I cannot be able to create an object. Okay. The Java vendors made like that. Any incomplete class. If you see normal class, a class means which is complete because it contains implemented methods only. So class is implemented, it has some implementation compulsory. So that's the reason which has implementation. For that only we can create an object which doesn't have which is not complete. Complete means no implementation. So abstract means which is incomplete. So for an incomplete thing, we cannot create an object. The Java vendors made in such a way that you are not allowed to create an object. They have done it because it's incomplete. The meaning of if you're trying to change it for an If you're trying to create an object for that, it means you're changing the meaning of it. So then there is no point of having abstract classes. Make sense, Gayatri?
Yes.
Can we have a constructor for abstract class?
Mm. No. No.
Because we cannot be able to create an object, so there's no point of having constructor.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Interface. What is an interface basically? Interface contains all unimplemented methods, right?
Yes.
It is purely abstraction. Interface is meant for purely abstract. Interface in the Java is a blueprint, and it's a blueprint of a class. We can say it has static constants and abstract methods. It has abstract methods and static variables. It has abstract methods and static variables. Interface print table. We have a method print method over here. So this method, if you don't declare even, it is a abstract method, right? We are not allowed to define any method inside the interface. Am I right?
Mm.
But from the 8th version onwards, we can define a method in the interface. Are you aware of it?
No.
From the 8th version onwards, we can define a method.
Okay.
So that is called default. Yeah, if I don't provide the body, if I just open this and close that also, that means I'm providing body. Am I right?
Yes. Then there is a risk of if I implement two interfaces, then there is a risk of multiple inheritance.
I told you yesterday there is no multiple inheritance.
Yeah,
Then
but here because now that I can implement two interfaces.
I'll tell you. Wait. Hello, I'm default interface. I can see the code of that interface method. So the point is here, interface is strictly says that no implementation for the methods. Then why do they have given this default method? It's an optional case what they have given. See, we know that interface means 100% it is abstraction, pure abstraction. There is no implementation. But still there is a chance. They thought like what if the person is implementing, he's going to get all the methods, he has to provide the body. But what in case some method compulsory we have to share it in between the classes, and that logic should be predefined. So that's the reason they have come up with this default method. You're talking about multiple inheritance. So multiple inheritance, why we are talking about multiple inheritance here?
Because in extents we cannot extend two classes, but
But
in
here
we can
implements
implement
here
two classes
to
interfaces. So now there is a risk of multiple inheritance. We are not able to avoid it.
the same method you're talking.
Yes, about default method.
Default method, if I write it, that's my optional case.
No.
So
If
what
there are two interfaces,
hmm,
interface A and interface B, and both have the same method, and I'm implementing in another class both interfaces A and B with same method,
hmm.
then there is a risk of if I like choose M1 method, then it will be confused, right? Which on from which interface to take. So my question is, can we like implement two interfaces?
Just a minute. Oh, I don't have this one. I think this is not Jerry 1 point. M3 and M1 is okay, right? So it shows an error, right?
Yes.
Implements interface. Okay. Hello.
Yeah.
I1 comma I2. So here the thing is, here we have in the I1 also M1 method, in the I2 also M1 method. I'm overriding it. So then which method it is going to focus?
The overriding method.
The override method belonging to which interface? I have
Implement.
I1 and I2. Huh?
There is no implementation for M.
Still I have written open bracket and close bracket means I have written implementation.
Okay.
So then what is the story here?
Then it will take that the one that has open braces.
I'll create an object. Let's see what will happen. So this is fine, right? So
Yes.
this is fine because an interface I1 and I2 containing both same methods. If it contains, that is not a problem because that is an unimplemented method, right?
Yes.
Here comes the problem. You see here, I1 and I2 is there. It strictly says now you cannot have overriding. This is the diamond problem because the same method you are having over there, the same method means that is not in a implemented method. Still, the implemented method, that's a different story. When you say implemented method, any one of the interface should contain. It should strictly restrict. Are you getting me?
Yes.
You said told me that that leads to a problem. But the thing is, when the thought of default is they wanted to give some implementation optionally that is belonging to that particular interface only. So what if both the interfaces are containing the same method? So at that time, obviously, when you are creating, when you are implementing, it shows an error. It shows an error saying that you are not supposed to get this implemented method because default method is a method for a specific purpose. That method also you are copying in different interfaces and you are trying to use it. That means whose mistake is this? This is the mistake of a developer.
Okay.
Are you getting me?
Okay.
The developer should make sure the purpose of a default is to make something unique code. That unique code you are trying to implement in some other interface and also with the same name at the time of your implementing means then that comes under what do you say, that's a developer's mistake we can say.
Okay.
But if you take the same name in the without implementation and if you see, if it is the same name, it is accepting, but different names with a different type, names with a different type, it is not accepting. So they have given everything cleverly. But the thing is, when you come to the classes, multiple inheritance is not allowed. Classes, we should talk about classes. Classes means already the implementation got ready for that method, and another class is there. If the two classes have same implementation, that leads to the problem, diamond problem, that is called. So that is the thing here. So inheritance, we should not say inheritance concept. As I told you, this is some other way. This is a like my project has, or my application has a dependency of multiple methods and multiple interfaces, multiple abstractions it needed. Then I'll be going for interfaces. Otherwise, I'll be going for only partial implementation. Then I'll be going for abstract classes. It all depends. Okay.
Okay.
Now, hope you got it. The purpose
Yeah.
of default method is to write a specific code, specially belonging to that one only. So can we override a default method? I want to, I would see, they have given an option also. You can still go for overriding a method. We can override it, right? So, 1 minute. I'm to change method related to public. Yeah. Here I should say default over public. Hmm. Okay, again, it has to be declared as public. Still, it is going the problems. So that is the problem. The same method in the interfaces cannot be allowed. So we should make sure that also. And another thing is the default method. If you have that is for a specific purpose, specific reason. So this default method should not be available in any other interface. That also we should make sure when you are doing that. So otherwise, at the time of implementing that interface itself, it is going to show an error. You have some default method and which is common to both of them. We are not supposed to use it. So you're changing the meaning, we are changing the meaning of it. So we are not supposed to do that. So we should make sure that. Make sense, Gayatri?
Yes.
So now from the interface, we got to know that we can also provide implementation from the 8 version onwards. Okay. So anything specific you want to share it, and if you can override it. Yes, we can say if I don't want that method functionality, I have a chance. So, but if you're overriding that, there is no point of keeping a default method. Okay. If you strictly want to reuse some code, then you have to make it as a default. Otherwise, no. Huh? You getting me
Yes.
right? Abstract class have abstract and non-abstract methods. Interface can have only abstract methods. Since Java 8, it can have default and static methods also. And there is something called a static method that also I'll discuss later point. Abstract class does not support multiple inheritance. This guy is telling multiple inheritance, but we should not talk multiple inheritance with the interfaces at all. There are some notes they have given multiple inheritance, but it is not related to multiple inheritance is not related to interfaces. It's only related to classes. So coming to the next, what we have is package. I hope you are aware of what is a package and how do you create a package, right?
Yeah.
What is package?
It's a collection of similar groups of classes.
Okay, package is a collection of similar the group. I mean, we can have collections of classes, and we have a lang package, and we have util package, and we have a AWT package. This lang package contains classes, and lang is the default package for any Java class. By default, this package is available for every Java class. And util, you have to import it. AWT, Windows Toolkit, if you want, you have to import it. So that's the thing. So we can create our packages, but in Eclipse, we are directly creating. If you go with the command prompt, you have to write the following command: javac-d directory file name. What is the file name you want to add it to the directory, that you have to say. Okay. So I don't need to explain you this, I think. Right? Gayatri?
Yeah.
This is fine, right?
Yes.
So coming to the next, modifiers. What are the access modifiers?
Public, private, and protected.
Private, public, protected, and default. If you don't give anything, that is comes under default scope, right?
Okay. Yes.
This decides the scope. Private means it is basically
Same.
only we can access within the class, not outside the class. Not within the package, outside the package subclass. No. Default means we can access within the class, within the other class and the same package, and the remaining two, no. Other package subclass, no. Default means same class, other class, but same package. Protected means same class, other class in the same package, other class, but subclass by outside different package. You can make it as a subclass and a different package. Public means all, same class, other class, subclass of other package, and other package, direct other package also you can access public, a public class or public method. So that is about private, public, protected, default. Do you have any questions on this basically?
No.
Any doubts on this? Access scope of this, right? For example.
Of each one?
I'm sorry?
I know.
You know them, right?
Yes.
Did you ping me yesterday for the
No, I
programs?
forgot. Sorry, I forgot. I'll ping today.
Okay. So the main important topic, encapsulation, very important topic. So private, public, protected, default, you are aware of it. So probably I'm not explaining you much. So that is only the scope only. So that's the reason we are not talking. Now coming to the point about encapsulation. What is encapsulation in Java?
Combining data and code.
Wrapping the code and data together into a single unit. The people will say different meanings for encapsulation. The best example for encapsulation is Pojo class. Plain old Java object. A class contains only setters and getters. A class, either you can read it, or a class whether you can write it. A class, either you can read or either you can write it, only read and write for setters and getters. That is called a fully encapsulated class. We are not going to give much permissions. We are not going to give the permissions. We want to restrict the permissions. Encapsulation is nothing but binding the data. When you are binding the data, you are going to restrict by making private. You are going to declare the variables as private, and for the private variables, you are going to set a public method so that they cannot access the variables directly. Still, they can access the methods, and they can set the name or they can get the name. Are you getting me?
Yes.
So there are two ways we can say that is read only Read only means I have set already the value. Someone want this functionality, they can only get the college. They cannot write anything to this. They cannot write anything to this because that is this class made it that particular as a variable already has been defined, and that is we can only read it. And there is another variable, or there is another class which contains only write. Someone can only write it, they cannot read it. Only write it, they cannot read it. So these two classes, and we can say that is a tightly or fully encapsulated classes. A class, anything which binds this encapsulation, data is nothing but encapsulation, but you are making it not visible to the outer classes directly, not available directly. So in that case, you are going to make it as private members. When you make it as some private members, then and methods as public, then that is called a fully encapsulated, a perfect example for encapsulation. Are you getting me?
Yeah. Yes.
What did you understand, Gayatri?
Encapsulation.
Hmm.
So encapsulation is basically combining data and methods. So we have this concept of getters and setters. So in order to like set the variable data or to get the data present in that variable, we use these methods.
So we are going to control the data. The flow we are going to have the control over the data. That is the meaning of encapsulation. So what about the remaining classes? Doesn't it comes under encapsulation? Yes, it comes under encapsulation. It's also encapsulation. But the pure encapsulated, the perfect encapsulation is you're going to restrict. Then only it is called a perfect example for encapsulation. Binding up the data is nothing but encapsulation. We have general classes. That's also encapsulation. Are you getting me?
Yes.
But still, as you are going to restrict, the data should not be accessed directly. In that case, you are going to write either set or either get. That's the meaning of a perfect encapsulation, we can say. So what is encapsulation? Encapsulation is nothing but binding the data. And when you're binding the data, you're going to make them as private members. And these private members cannot be accessed directly. Either a person can set or either the person can get. So in that way, we are restricting. So that is called an encapsulate or a fully encapsulated class. And the remaining classes also we are going to say encapsulation, but it is not purely encapsulation. As we are binding the data, so still it is called, it's under encapsulation. Makes sense, Gayatri?
Yes.
Your voice is low.
Yes.
You're okay, right?
Yes. Now is it audible?
Yeah, it's all right. Coming to the array. What is an array? And why do we have to go for array?
Array is a continuous memory allocation
Mhm.
for storing elements.
So if I use if I have to store five values, I need to use five variables, five different variables, right?
Yes.
So that's the reason they thought of instead of storing five different variables, declaring five different variables and storing the values, I would like to give one name to store multiple values. That is the thought of behind arrays. One name to store multiple values. Your array is nothing but a single name to store multiple values. And the problem here is that runtime we cannot modify the array size. So if you want to create an array, there are two ways we have, but the everyone says the main way is this one only. That is, you have to give int a and new int, and this way we are going to specify. This is the way we are going to create an R array. This will create our array, and the size of array is 5. So this is called declaring an array. This part we call it as declaring an array, and this part is called instantiation of array. Together we call it as declaration of array and instantiation. And next what we are doing, we are assigning a value. This is called initialization. And to print the values again, we need to go for for loop to print the values. Okay.
Yes.
Array is nothing but collection of elements of of same type. The problem with arrays is it will not take other objects. It must be of the same type.
Same data type.
So the thought of arrays is instead of using multiple variable names, we can use a single name to store multiple elements. So we have two types of arrays: single dimensional, multi-dimensional. If you have more than one array, that is called a double dimensional. 2, 3, triple dimensional will be having. Depending upon our requirement, we will be working with the arrays. So if you want to inject value, you can use a static scanner. I hope you are aware of what is scanner.
Yes, scanner class.
You're aware of scanner, right?
Yes, to take input.
Okay. So tomorrow, what you do is perform an application using a scanner. Read
Okay.
the values for a matrix. Take two matrices. Read the values for the two matrices and perform addition for the two matrices using the scanner.
Okay.
Okay, and show me that example tomorrow.
Okay.
And this is we can say declaration and initialization in a single line, but this is a very rare case what we'll be using. Declaring and initializing an array in a single line, that's a very rare case we'll be using. And there is anonymous array in Java. Anonymous means, what is anonymous? I have a method print array, and here I'm passing a variable array with the array that is by seeing the symbol. I can say it's going to take arrays. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to call print array method by passing new int directly. Actually, I need to create an
That
array object. I need to create an array object in the class and I need to pass it then. But what I'm saying is I'm directly new int and we're saying like this. We are providing the values directly. That means we are initialization. When you say something got initialized at the same time, then it is called anonymous way of implementation. But here we are implementing arrays, so that's the reason here he is telling that anonymous array implementation. Are you getting me?
yes.
So we are creating an object and we are passing it to the method, and size also it's got being given here. So depending upon the values, your array got size got fixed. That's it. Work on this all. If the size got crosses, we'll be getting an exception. That is array index out of bound exception. Okay.
Yes.
Array index out of bound size exception. Work on these are all examples, Gayatri. So, and then we'll go for the different things. From here, we have the next topics about wrapper classes, object, what is an object, how do you clone the object, and from here we'll start looking up examples. Okay, strict FP, all these things we'll be working on it. And arrays, so far they're all simple things what we have been covered. Now once this oops misc has been covered, then we'll be starting with the string. These things will be covering. Any questions and any other queries you have, Gayatri?
No.
Any doubts?
No.
You're okay with the training, or you want me to
Yes.
show something, or you want me to show the examples? As you know already, so I'm not explaining, I'm not showing any examples on that. Otherwise, I would have come up with the examples.
Yeah, yeah. So Java is fine with little brush up, but JSP, servlets, and Spring Boot and Hibernate, I have no idea.
No, I'll start the programming, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah.
These things we are just briefing the things because you have already not knowledge in this, right? So that's the
Yes.
reason I'm briefing these things. And additionally, I have some programs. Just ping me. I'll send it to you. Okay.
Yeah. Today. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Gayatri, go through till arrays today, and then we'll continue tomorrow.
Okay. Yes.
Any other doubts, questions for me?
No, that's all.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.